I've always loved the Tasmanian Devil. For as popular a character as he is, it's disappointing to know that he didn't even appear in very many classic Warner Brothers shorts, but that sure hasn't stopped them from making a boatload of video games based around him. The first was for the Atari 2600. It was just a simple arcade-style game where you try to grab as much food as you can without smashing into hazards. I actually love this game. It's a lot of fun, and it's a testament to how you don't need great graphics to make a good game. That said, it hardly even has anything to do with the character Taz. You could replace the tornado with a mouth, and it really would make no difference. The first Tasmanian Devil game I remember where Taz really looked like the Taz we knew from the cartoons was Tasmania for Super Nintendo. You know, the one where you just run down the road endlessly and nothing else happens. Seriously, all you do is go down the road, spin and avoid obstacles. You eat birds on the road which replenish your spin meter, and sometimes you'll hit an obstacle like a bus or whatever, but that's about it. It was one of the worst SNES games I remember playing as a kid. The Super Nintendo was known for its high standards and awesome games, but apparently not with Taz. I'd really love to elaborate more on the SNES game, but there's really nothing more to say about it. You just run down the road. Maybe they got Taz confused with the Roadrunner. So here's Tasmania for the Game Boy. When you start the game, it says Tasmania in Christmas Island Capers. Shouldn't it say Taz in Christmas Island Capers? Tasmania is the name of the place that he lives, not his name. That'd be like if this was a Star Wars game, and instead of it saying Luke Skywalker in Death Star Escape, it said Death Star in Death Star Escape. The first level is fairly difficult. It's just one of those things that you need to do a few times to know what's coming so that you can react fast enough. Then the second level starts, and some guy just throws you off a pier and you die. How are you supposed to know the first time you do this that you're supposed to spin on the water? On the next level, you run down the road and it looks just like the Super Nintendo game. Great idea. Copy the crappy gameplay from the SNES game. Once again, you just run down the road and spin. At least this game has actual side-scrolling levels though, so this game is actually better than the SNES version if you can believe that, but not by much. The first boss is a dinosaur and he's really easy, you just jump on top of his head. Then when you get to the next level, it's a bunch of islands with water between them. I assume that you have to spin on the water like earlier, but that doesn't work. I tried spinning on the water repeatedly, but I just kept dying. I wasn't sure what to do, and then it just said game over. I couldn't find any info online on how to beat this, so on to the next game. Tasmania 2. With this game, again it's a side-scroller like the first one, and it seems like it's got more to do with the cartoon show because the introduction story uses characters from the show. You collect rotation symbols to recharge your spin and collect little balls, and if you get enough of them you'll get an extra guy, and it's just really basic stuff so far. Then I got to the first boss. It's this guy in some sort of wooden tank shooting arrows. I tried my best to kill him, but I just couldn't do it. I'm not sure what you're supposed to do here. I tried jumping on top of his head and spinning on him, but it didn't do anything. I can't figure out how to hurt him. So, once again, I'm stumped. Can't get over the water, can't injure the boss. These games are so simple and basic, you think it'd be self-explanatory, but nope. Then there was the Tasmanian Devil Munching Madness on Game Boy Color. So in this one, Taz travels around on this huge map that you're supposed to explore. The goal, I believe, is to collect golden coins. I found this one lady who tells you to cross some island and get a coin, so I did that and I got the coin, but that's the only coin I was able to find. I walked around the whole island numerous times, picking up fruit that doesn't seem to do anything, and killing endless amounts of crabs, but I saw no other coins. I tried killing natives, I tried smashing into trees and rocks, I covered the entire island multiple times, but no more coins, so I don't see what I'm missing. But what I do know is that the music in the game is driving me right out of my mind, so I have to stop playing it anyway. 3 Taz Game Boy games and I can't figure them out. It's times like this when I just feel dumb, like I can't figure out some stupid kids game, but I really don't think it's my fault. The game design is just sloppy. All 3 of these Game Boy games needed a lot more testing before they were released. But we know the deal by now. Got a popular kids show? Just rush out a crappy game to cash in on it as quick as possible. But it's not over yet. Let's look at Tasmania for the Sega Genesis. On the surface, it seems like a good game. The graphics are really nice, and the controls seem decent for the most part. They let you use his spin as much as you want instead of having to worry about replenishing a spin meter, so that much I like. But there's other things about it that make it really frustrating. As you're going through a stage, you'll have to jump from platform to platform to progress. But the problem is, you won't be able to see where the next platform is you need to land on. You have to take wild guesses where the ledge is going to be, which more often than not will send you plummeting down back to where you started, and this happens continually. And a lot of things in the background look like you can jump onto them, but actually you can't, so it can be hard to decipher what you can land on. You climb up the rocks, and some of them are hard to reach, but if you use your spin, Taz will dart out further and you can jump large gaps. Seems like it should be fun, doesn't it? But when you jump out, you have no idea where you're going to land, and unless you're lucky, you're going to have to redo everything that you just did. It's extremely aggravating. What makes it even more aggravating is the fact that it's almost a good game. Eventually, if you play long enough, you'll be able to memorize the board and know where all the platforms are so that you can progress. But if they would have just designed it so that you could see where the next ledge you need to jump on is, it would have been a lot better. Also, sometimes they place bombs on the ground that Taz will automatically pick up and eat. If he eats one, he gets hurt, and usually you can avoid items by jumping over them, but then sometimes they're in spots where they're nearly impossible to avoid, so he'll pick them up and eat it when you don't want him to. And other times, the bombs will be hidden behind foreground objects, so there's no way you can even know it was there. So you really have no choice except to memorize where everything is, and that's pretty much the name of the game. You just have to memorize the location of everything on the level. I don't particularly like this style of gameplay because it just takes too much time to try and memorize everything. Still though, it's better than the Super Nintendo game. If you're willing to put in the time it takes to memorize the levels, it's probably not too terrible, but it's certainly not anything special. But the best Tasmanian Devil game that I've played is Taz in Escape from Mars on the Genesis. It is a lot like the first game, with great graphics and control, but this time it's not plagued by terrible platforming design. The plot is based on old Warner Brothers cartoons, not the Tasmania TV show, which I really like. The intro seems a lot like the cartoon Hairway to the Stars, for example. I was always more of a fan of the old Taz cartoon shorts, more so than the 90s animated series, so right off the bat, I'm happy with the theme. Taz travels from planet to planet, visiting Mars, the Mole World, and Planet X, and those are all good, but later in the game you end up in Mexico and a haunted house. That seems to stray away from the whole outer space concept the game is initially centered around, but I don't mind too much. The level design is well done, and the areas are large, like giant labyrinths. Some of them remind me of level 7-9 in Super Mario Bros. 3, the way it's laid out. It's just a big maze. A lot of creativity went into making this game. Sometimes you'll eat a potion that'll turn Taz small. That'll get you through small passages, but it'll also hinder your ability to burrow through the ground, so you gotta watch out. On the mole level, you'll be chased by a giant machine with chainsaws, and you'll have to make it to the end before it does. Come on, Taz, hurry up and eat the sign! Oh! The entire game has a vibrant, cartoony feel, and it really seems like you stepped right into a Warner Brothers cartoon. My only complaint is that the music isn't very memorable. It's not terrible, but it's not anything special. I'm really happy with the controls in this, because you get to do everything you'd want to be able to do with Taz. With the spin, you can kill enemies, break through walls, he bounces up walls, almost like a wall jump, and if you get up enough speed, you can actually travel straight up a vertical wall, and even go upside down, almost like Sonic the Hedgehog. And the boss fights are all pretty cool. You have to figure out how to kill each one of them. Like for the bullfight, you need to jump over him so that he smashes into the wall. Or for the final fight with Marvin, you need to hit the gold thing on top of his head, but it's insanely difficult because you have to jump onto his elbow and shoulder platforms, but you'll get hurt trying to do that, so you'll really have to have the controls mastered to do this. My favorite boss battle in the game is at the end of the haunted house. You get to fight Gossamer from the cartoon Hair-Raising Hair. You spin all over the laboratory until Gossamer stops moving, then you spin attack on his head. Eventually he'll sit down in the chair. That's your cue to pull the switch, whereby you swap brains with him and you actually become Gossamer for a short time. Then you can control him and jump up and attack the doctor's machinery to beat the board. That's just one example of how this game is a great tribute to the old Warner shorts, and it delivers on gameplay at the same time. Escape from Mars once again lives up to the system's motto, Genesis does what Nintendo don't.